course, because it is the Hotness Unleashers show, a slight technical difficulty. Okay, so Brian Smart has been here all day, right? I've been chatting with him. He sent me some stuff like literally like 2 minutes ago, but he's not here on the show. So he's got the link and hopefully he'll get it. So if anybody's got Brian's number, let him know he needs to click the link that's in the group chat and I'll let him in. So until then, welcome to the Hotness Unleashers show. It is Saturday, October 8th, 8 a.m. Pacific time. I've got Aaron Kennen and Aaron Barreiro, right? Got that? And I'm excited to meet you guys. You know, we haven't got a chance to hang out very much, but this is a way to make it happen, right? We can come together, we can get to know each other a little bit, and just talk about like what's going right out here, not in terms of our own lives, but in terms of how other people on LinkedIn are impacting us and getting into our feed. And I got Brian. Look at this. Now we don't have video yet, but it's coming. All right, so welcome everybody. So happy that you guys are here. And just want to take a minute to go ahead and introduce our official sponsor today, which is Infuse Media. And what you're going to see from Infuse Media is slightly different than what you've seen in the past, right? We're talking about demand performance delivered. So we call on business-to-business technology companies primarily, and we assist with helping drive demand to their offers. And you know what? I've been with these guys for 5 years. We're hiring. We're globally based, up to nearly 1,000 employees now. So, you know, no small potatoes, and very excited that they are our sponsor today. Another housekeeping item is to talk a little bit about what Hotness Unleasher means. All right. So Hotness Unleashing is simply the act of paying attention to other people and their work in an intentional way, right? And when we do that, it feels good, all right? That's what I mean by Hotness Unleashing. It's really not any more complicated than that, and picks up on some of Dale Carnegie's really old work. So with that all said, I want to introduce our guests, right? And give them a chance to take the floor and talk about their own offers and kind of what they're about and what what brings them to LinkedIn and all that good stuff. So, Mr. Kennen, let's start off with you.
Oh, going with me first? Okay.
You bet.
I don't know if you can pull it up, but I just became the president of Love Therapy Thursday, with Internet's most supportive mental health community and nonprofit. We're in the middle of filing for nonprofit status right now, but we're almost there. We make a lot of content, and basically every Thursday we have our own post, like Social Saturday, where you can post anything that you want to talk about, like in a mental health aspect, like if you're going through something, or you can go and support others in like the chat. And recently we got a big partnership with this company called Impact Suite. They gave us a big $900,000 grant, and we're using that to subsidize professional resources and telehealth therapy for people.
That's incredible. A $900,000 grant?
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes. So, I mean, that doesn't just happen every day. I mean, so how now? I want to back up here just a little bit because we were connected, but I didn't really know you until you were actually introduced to me on this very show. Okay.
Yeah.
And so as a result of being introduced to you on this show as a Hotness Unleasher, I was like, oh, okay, I got to get to know this guy because I already kind of knew Blake a little bit. So how did you and Blake get connected? How did that happen?
Yeah, I remember when Social Saturday first happened. It was like 3 months ago. That's when I first met Blake. He reached out to me, and we had like a long conversation, like introducing each other. And like when he started Love Therapy Thursday itself, he invited me on board as the VP of marketing.
Nice. So what was the background that you had to to compete for that role?
Yep. So to get that role, for VP of marketing, I'm about to mention, I do a lot of freelancing on the side. I have my own freelance marketing agency, and I do stuff from social media management on platforms like LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram and YouTube to podcast production. Mm-hmm. And I also do white labeling services for other freelancers and marketing agencies who want to add more services for their clients, or just want to increase their reoccurring income.
All right. So for companies or for anybody who's out here who's obviously working for somebody or for themselves, well, who do you target for that freelance work? Like what's your ICP, if you will?
Right now, on my end, I more so look for startups, small businesses, and solopreneurs, because I do a lot of consulting, personal branding too, for just individuals also. And of course, for like those small businesses or startups and brands, I do like I mentioned, like social media management, paid advertising, web design, podcast production, all that.
Nice, nice. All right, so if we need any of that good stuff, then we can get a hold of you, right? And that's terrific. And then in the meantime, Love Therapy Thursday. I remember when Blake announced this for the first time. FundMe was really supporting this as well. I mean, she was a
Hmm.
big part of that, and I have, I've done my best to try to support it off and on as Thursdays kind of come and go, as as I can kind of get it into my flow. So 100% down with this. Love the initiative, and welcome to the Hotness Unleashers show, man. It's just awesome. All right, Mr. Barreiro. Now we got some big news in your house today, right?
Yeah, we just had puppies born in the middle of the night. So I'm excited. The mom is doing okay, and we have another pup right here right next to me that she's a little nervous and anxious. But it's a good Saturday morning, and I definitely want to thank you, Trevor, and everyone else that we're hosting with. Like, this is an awesome opportunity to be with everyone here. I want to do some shout outs in the comments because there's some hotness there with Jamie and Will and Stavina. And probably a bunch of other people that we all know. So I just want to give you all the love for making the comments pop. About myself. So my name is Aaron Barreiro. I'm calling in from Matamoros, Mexico, actually. My wife and I moved here about 4.5 years ago. We started our own nonprofits to support youth in underprivileged communities. But we've actually never raised funds for that. So we've paid everything out of pocket. We're social entrepreneurs. I spent the last 4.5 years as a freelancer, and then one of those contracts actually turned into a full-time role. And this year I decided the entrepreneur bug bit me again, and I wanted to get back into my own business. So I started a business called OneStrive, and LinkedIn. I mean, that's why we're here, right? Because LinkedIn transformed my business. Literally had an idea in February, launched in May, and then we ran a couple of free mentoring programs. We launched a private community called Build in Public, and I'm about to start offering consulting pretty soon around community building and building your ideal life here on LinkedIn. So anyone that wants to follow me, join in, whatever you want to do, I'm more than happy to help you out.
I love it, man. So, I mean, I can't even say enough. It is that, like, it's that action step, right? It's saying, like, I had this idea, I had some experience, I had this idea, boom, now here I'm doing it, and meanwhile I've got puppies. It's just like it's like this is life. It's just real life stuff. So I'm thrilled. Like, Building Public sounds terrific. A community for founders. We got this up. What can you tell us specifically about what to expect if we go and dive into that?
Yeah, Build in Public, it's this idea that doing it that way is the best way to build your business. I tried doing it before. About 6 years ago, I started a business in motivational speaking, leadership development, and it just didn't work out because I didn't have anyone around me. Being on LinkedIn, meeting the incredible people that I've met, it's just transformed the way that I've gone about building a business. And so Build in Public does two things. One, we have public posts, so Mondays and Fridays. And that's a chance to create the platform for some founders that don't have their platform yet and still want access to the benefits of building in public. So you can ask your questions, you can network. And then on the back end, we have a private community on Slack where we tackle hard questions. We have our master classes. We have other stories to build in public, all to just get people going forward. So you're going to learn. And if you're just starting your business, we're going to help you along the way and mentor you throughout that process.
Terrific. So, did you tell me, or did you tell us how many people are in it right now, or is it?
We have
Did I miss that?
32 founders in
Okay.
the community. We launched at the end of August, and so it's been a good couple of months. We're really trying to foster strong relationships and
Okay.
just create an awesome space for founders.
So you said 32. Did I hear that correctly? Okay.
Yes.
So that's an interesting number, right? I learned in French that 36, right? 36. You say that it's a number that's like so big that you can't deal with it. Okay. And when I do my carousel posts, I limit it to 30, right? And that's intentional. It's 30 slides. And when I was talking about, like, building a squad, right? Like, of people, like, that I could really know and really follow and stuff, it was around 30, right? It's like, so I think it's a number that we just kind of feels about right. So do you feel like you're kind of getting into a zone now where there's some critical mass almost?
Yeah, I think it has helped that those 30 people are just incredible, all aligned, I think as we've kind of talked in some right here, Will, Joa, when we started to get to know each other, we were all aligned, not just on wanting to build positive business impact, but also socially. We all care about really making a difference in the world. And so, yeah, we definitely have reached a point where we're really in a good rhythm and trying to set that foundation so that way when we do have a chance to grow a little bit more, we'll be ready for it.
Awesome. Well done. I'm excited. I'm going to go dive in there and make sure I understand exactly what's going on there. I'm super pumped that we're connected and you're here and that we can introduce this to everybody who's attending today and anybody who will listen to it on the replay later on. So, with that, we're gonna put the focus on Brian Smart. Glad that you were able to join us today, sir, and and got in and got that link. I was bugging you about that. So we are here and you are on stage, sir.
So how are you guys doing this morning, man? How's everyone?
Man, I'm double coffeeed up, so I'm rolling.
These are some really good conversations we're having. I'm excited to hear all of the information that's being passed along about building in public and starting to utilize the tools that are available for this creative economy. You know, this is something that I've been involved in for quite a while. I got started back with building tech back, about a little over 20 years ago. Like seriously, took an interest in it, and I've been building sites, products, structures, patterns, strategies, techniques, and not just content, but in conversations, right? And learning how to talk to people. And that's what makes it so exciting about LinkedIn, is using these strategies that I've developed over the years to build content, to now build real relationships. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not much of a people person. I'm more of a ambivert. I'm not an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. If I get to know you well enough, I'll talk your ear off. If I don't know you that well, I tend to keep to myself, and I like to just listen. Once I start talking, then I'm probably going to start asking more questions. And the moment I start asking more questions, that's probably the moment I become more of an ambivert. That's the moment that I open up, and it's so exciting to be able to do that on a platform. I've never been that much into social media, and when I joined LinkedIn about 9-10 years ago, it was more of a resume, a business building site, and I was floored, man. I was excited to see it now being much more of a professional social network, right?
Man, I gotta say, I think that anybody who's been around LinkedIn for a really long time, like you and me, and I mean, yes, right? It's like that's the experience that we have.
That's it, right? Like
it's like a butterfly. It's just like metamorphosis, right? Boom, and now here we are, and we're having fun, and we're doing shows like this, and getting to know each other in a real way. It's great. All right, so I got to ask you a couple questions, right? So this morning, I'm prepping this slide that everybody's looking at. You get 10x content creator guide, 10x your LinkedIn, 10x, right? Awesome. Your first slide was Content Creation University. So then you switched it on me. So now I did the wrong one at first, right? All right.
No.
Talk to me about this slide and what you're up to.
I'll tell you the reason for the two, right? Okay. So there's a reason for the two. The first is that intricate course development product, right? And I'd like to keep it housed separately from the simple just text products that you can just download easily. Like, I don't want you to have to go through all of those steps to get something that should be easy to get, right? I need to make this as simple and easy, not just for people to get the products, but for me to be able to catalog and shell out the right content for the right problem, right? The right solution, right? This keeps it easier. This keeps you from getting distracted. This keeps me from getting distracted, right? You get to seeing what you might be able to do with the course but that's really out of your reach right now, right? Content is a monster, man. This is a lot of work, and I don't really believe I still don't believe people understand the enormity of what this entails, not just for what you can get out of it, but for what you have to put into it, right? This is a lot of work, right? So before you take on this whole big monster, let's take a little bit at a time, right? And this is why I came up with the two.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you sharing this, and I know I'm excited to dive in and get to know you even better, right? I mean, we had a great V Coffee, as in preparation for this, and to the three of you guys, I want to say, hey, I'm so stoked. You know what I'm actually really excited about right now is that everybody's audio works. Because that has just been just been a thorn in my side since getting started with Restream. Anna Duncan, it was in and out, and then Nick Sherigian was totally out, and then we had trouble with Neela too. She was kind of in it, and so we're all here, right? It's just great. Thank you guys for committing to doing the mic test in advance. We're all learning, right? We're constantly on fire for trying to figure out how to make stuff go. Brian, I appreciate you bringing this whole content idea and really being realistic about what it takes to create content. I mean, David Ketchen earlier, I did a carousel earlier this week, right? So David Ketchen says, how long did that take you? And I was like, I don't know, like 3 hours or something. It was like just to do one single carousel post was it's an investment, right? And we have to think about what it is that we're doing and putting this show together, right? This is content. Why am I doing this, right? Because I'm committed to A, the platform, and B, I want to learn how, right? Functionally, I want to learn how. And so here we are doing it. So with that, the title of the show is the Hotness Unleashers show, right? And so we are here to recognize people who have unleashed hotness in our worlds, this week or recently. And so, we've been, cooking it up, and anybody who's been a guest here already knows how this goes. And, this is exciting stuff. Okay. So with that, Mr. Kennen, I want to give you the floor and give us your first Hotness Unleasher announcement.
Mm-hmm. That's the two people that we chose, right?
Yes. Give me the first one.
The first one, his name is James Valentine.
Mr. Valentine. Yes, there he is. Yep. Okay. Tell us about Mr. Valentine. What did he do?
So I met him a few weeks ago. We just came to connect just over a coffee chat. We really hit it off. And when I became president of Love Therapy Thursday, he's just been an amazing resource when it comes to content creation, managing the community, and giving me ideas. And we just launched our group therapy program last Thursday with him, and it's been really good. And we're planning to expand it a bit more with more life coaches to serve more people. And and actually we got inspired by you, Trevor, and we're actually thinking of doing a live stream with James hosting every Thursday, but we're piling in just to see.
Man, that's unleashing some hotness in me, right? I mean, I love that because I follow James and the guy's a content machine, right? I mean, he's just boom, 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 it's all the time out there, and it's hard for me to keep up, right? But so what about what he's talking about, or where's that where do you see that resonance between the two of you, and I don't know, unpack that just a little bit more for me.
Yep. If you guys don't know James's story, he used to be homeless, and he actually worked out of that and built his own business out of it. He was selling courses and doing seminars while in the shelter, and he's where he is now. He moved to Las Vegas, and he's helping people, helping me, helping more people in the community. So it's a great rags to riches story. I really resonate with that, and he's been a beacon of positivity.
That's terrific. All right, man. Thank you for putting the light on James. I love it. And I'm gonna now he's he's in my awareness. So if nothing else, James, I got you. All right. So, Mr. Barreiro, let's do it. Who you got?
I got Telegram. So Telegram is someone I met through a company called Wild Spark. We were in a cohort together, learning about leadership. And honestly, in just a few months, he transformed from this guy who was pretty quiet on LinkedIn to all of a sudden just found his thing. And so he does this Burn Untamed as a father, and he talks all about fatherhood. And every single day, just be it's amazing because he used to say that he wasn't a good writer, but if you go through his posts, man, the way that he talks about his children and the things that he's learning, and just the way that he communicates, like the love for them and the teaching to us as a father, is just powerful. And so in just a couple months, he's done some amazing things. He just launched his own newsletter. I think he's at like a number 8 on there or something like that. And so he is killing it with Burn Untamed, and he's really setting a good example for a lot of fathers out there. So yeah, I think just Tyler is an awesome dude.
I don't even know what to say.
Like Paulo
Right.
said.
I mean, I'm just like, well, I mean, okay, so I got 4 kids, right? Pretty much anybody who knows me knows that's my reality. All right. And they're older now. All right. So the oldest is almost 23. The youngest is 14. And the thing I say is like, hey, don't think that when they get older, it gets less intense. It gets more intense. I mean, the world that I live in, I mean, so literally yesterday, I sent my 18-year-old to California by herself on an airplane. Okay. So that happened. You think I'm like, I'm freaking out. I mean, you know, and how do you deal with that? I mean, the stakes in 2022, and, you know, kids this age, they're off the charts. They're out of the window here. I mean, the stakes are huge, right? You know, we're dealing with real stuff. It is not.
What I love about Tyler is like his focus on values, and, you know, how do we be very intentional about the conversations we have with our kids for when they leave, for when we hit these hard moments in their lives. You know, it's interesting for me. My wife and I actually adopted her 4 siblings 2.5 years ago. So we're unofficial parents. They were all teens. So we've been on a ride, and being able to just learn from other people that, you know, in that moment, it's tough. It's a tough thing to try and be an example, to try and, you know, help another human being be successful in this world. And so super important what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, you can get me talking, and it's hard for me personally, because as they get older, you have to recognize that we don't want to tell their stories, right? Because they're their stories to tell, but yet we live, it's like, so it's this weird sort of boundary zone, right? And you know, my kids have stories, right? And they're intense. And so, but as their dad, right, I have to let them breathe, right? That's kind of my thing. It's like, I have to let them breathe and let them be, and just be, accept when things go off rails, right? And you know, how many times do things go off rails for me? So totally down with Tyler Graham. Thank you for bringing him to the table, showing up on the show here. Love it. Can't wait to get to know this guy better. All right, Brian, you are up.
So my first unleashed piece of hotness for this Saturday is going to be Dan Lathrop.
There we go. All right,
hey,
we
man,
got him.
An amazing guy. He is also a father, and that was the first thing that drew me to him. That's something that I take seriously. That's something that changed my life, right, at a later time. My oldest is almost 21, but I've got a little girl right now that's she just turned 5.
Okay, so you're in it.
Yeah, oh, I'm in it big time. You understand?
The physical intensity of it, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, when you get older and you start to be able to, you know, see that youth, it's now you look at it from a different perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talking with Dan, meeting with Dan, I also discovered that his father's a pastor. My father's a pastor, right? Which was something else we had in common. And it goes back to what Aaron was saying a few moments ago about instilling those values, right, early on, those firm, definite, right, stand by, stand on type of rules. I look for that when I search out people in any aspect, and that was one of the things that led me to LinkedIn, right? Mm-hmm. because it was more professional, and that was the one of the key factors that my search was after I got on LinkedIn, right? Was looking for, looking for dads, looking for
Nice.
dads. I just happened to find a PK also.
Perfect. Listen, I want to tell my own little story about Dan. So I ran a carousel this week on customer success, right? Because I'm trying to, it's part of my initiative is to figure out who's doing what in the business to business go to market stack. And Dan, he's a customer success guy. All right. That's what he does. And he I highlighted of all the customer success people out there, I picked about 20-ish, give or take 25, and he was among them, right? Because he wrote something to his peers that was really introspective around like, hey, how do we live our lives, right? How do we do better, and how do we improve ourselves? And that stood out to me as it's rare in this kind of B2B business marketing go-to-market stuff, right? You don't see very much of that in those spheres. I mean, we see it a lot in other spheres, but not in that. And so I wanted to just highlight that of Dan and say, yeah, man. I mean, he was right there. And I got to say, he was, I mean, like if you hadn't called him out, he was definitely like on my list. I mean,
it's funny you say that, man. Dan is one of the few people that post updates regularly that makes you stop and think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy's awesome. I mean,
He's an awesome guy, man. He's a Hotness Unleasher.
He is a Hotness Unleasher forevermore, man. He is on the list, right? Episode 8, Dan Lathrop, you are here. All right, so making a quick transition over to mine. I am going to announce Laura Klebanow as a Hotness Unleasher this week. Now, I get to do this every week, right? So I can pick out people who maybe I don't know that well, right? But who have just like crashed into my world in a really big way. And so I made this content earlier this week, or even over the last couple of weeks, and it was making movie clips. All right, so making movie clips is not obvious, right? You can do it. I mean, if you're kind of in that world and stuff, but I had to figure it out. I had to kind of combine stuff. And Laura just jumped in and she was like massively supportive and was really excited about it and was like totally engaged and really just sort of encouraged me to keep going. And I don't know if she knew that. Okay. But it's that kind of, I guess, and sort of enthusiastic, like, hey, I'm really excited about this idea or about this content that you're putting out. Keep going, keep making it happen. And I loved it. So I went out to her, her profile and she just had this real, kind of presence about her. And she just felt really approachable and, somebody who I felt like I could really connect with and wanted to call her out as a Hotness Unleasher for just being so excited on my stuff. Right. And when you get that, right. When you get somebody who's just like, bam, like on it, it feels great. So, I wanted just to, shine a light on her and, let her know that I did see that. And it was actually her who drove me to say like how to make a video, which was way harder than actually making video clips. So in any case, a big thanks to her. And so she's my first Hotness Unleasher for this week. All right. So, but halfway through our time here together. And now what we get to do is reflect on something that went well or bad or was just interesting in terms of our own personal content journey in the last week. So Mr. Kennen, the floor is yours.
So can we do both a positive and a negative?
Do whatever you want, man. This is
so
your time.
So you can start off like negative wise, like on LinkedIn the past week, I just been DMing like 100 people like at once because my DMs have been like flooded with people like inquiring about Love Therapy Thursday, looking at like volunteer and whatnot. I keep getting like suspended by LinkedIn because they keep saying that like I'm using automation tools because I've been like replying to like a lot of people in such a short amount of time. So yeah, that's been keeping me from being like super active on the platform. Like all I'm doing is like replying to people. Like they said, I replied to like over 100 people in like under 30 minutes. So they're like, that's kind of like sus,
That's pretty beast mode though. Still, yeah. I mean, you could be a machine, I guess. I mean, that's hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, it gets like overwhelming, but yeah, in terms of like positive content wise, like I mentioned, like me and James launched our new group therapy program over Zoom, and it's been pretty good. And yeah, like I said, we're gonna plan to expand it soon.
Nice, nice. So did you get a ton of engagement, or as you've kind of rolled that stuff out, or like how do you experience engagement with your stuff? Do you get like tons of impressions, or do you get like people like lots of comments, or how does that? How do you know like, yeah, man, I've really hit something?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, like our community does like a bunch of like community submitted like work too in our company page, and we're like expanding that too. It's being like a pretty good amount of traction with the amount of like followers we have, because like we reached over like 1,000 followers without posting any content. So
Hmm.
we're like taking advantage of all the interest and momentum and just actually like creating content for our audience to see.
Okay. Okay. Sweet. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I mean, I think it's important, right, to look back and in order to plan ahead, right,
Mm-hmm.
and to say like I'm constantly doing that. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But Mr. Barreiro, let's go. What do you got? What was your takeaway for the week?
Yeah, I guess I can do a positive and negative as well. So Wednesday, I had my own first live. It was a live audio event, and it was awesome. I was not expecting it to go. I mean, you never know what to expect the first time you do something, right? So we actually had over 200 people say they were going to attend. We had about 35 people in the conversation, and throughout the hour that we were on there, we probably had 9, 10 people come up on stage, ask their questions, and it was just a really great time. And so definitely gonna do it again. We're talking about overcoming sort of the fear of writing on LinkedIn, and so we'll be doing another live audio soon. My negative, I applied to LinkedIn's Creator Accelerator program. It's like this thing that they do. This is the second time they do it in the United States. Second time I applied, second time I was rejected. So I was a little bummed to get that email on, I think it was like Thursday. But hey, we're still here and still marching along.
So unpack the audio for me a little bit, because that, of all the things that I've tried, and I do try a lot of stuff. I've never tried that. I don't know the first thing about it. How does one get started? Where do you just
Yeah,
open that
yeah.
up for me a little bit?
So live audio events on LinkedIn, the cool thing about them is you can bring people on the stage to talk. And so it's pretty simple. You go in, you create an event, you choose a live audio event, and then, you get it going. And so what's interesting about it is it doesn't take up your whole screen. It's literally like a message chat, and that's where the audio event is. So you can actually use LinkedIn passively or do whatever the heck you want to do, and leave that chat open. And so really it's like, for me, the reason I went with the audio edit for that is because I wanted people to bring their questions, try and tackle, what are their anxieties? What are they worried about? Why aren't they creating when they want to? And I felt like audio was the best way to do that. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be able to get people to engage and speak and just kind of share what's on their mind.
Okay, and now it's interesting. I'm looking here. So Tamara Tortovic, she said that, and then Jamie responded that you can't get a replay of the live.
That is
Now,
very true. There are no replays.
What's that about?
I honestly don't know. That's a good question, but I am thinking about possibly getting someone to help me out and actually record the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then sharing that out as a possible thing to do. So,
I mean, you can run Audacity on your site. It's a free tool. I mean, it'll capture system sound. I don't see why you couldn't do that. I mean,
yeah,
just
I'll definitely give that a go.
Turn it on. I mean, it's super lightweight, and I mean, I use Audacity myself to I capture podcasts, right?
Okay.
So whenever I listen to a podcast, I'll record it, and then I'll transcribe it, and using another tool called Milk Video, which I love, and piece of cake and everything, but because I like to go back, right? It's not just one time. It's like in the one ear and out the other. And I'll forget. I don't remember who said what or what the exact quote was or anything like that. And you can't really speak to it. So yeah, I love the idea of audio. So I'm just trying to get my head around it, right? I mean, I have not participated in one. I haven't hosted one. I don't even know the first thing about it. So just literally trying to imagine, because this live, what we're doing right now, it takes over my entire reality. Okay.
Right.
It's like there's nothing else that I can possibly do. I can sort of look at the comments over here. It's when I'm looking away, I got the comments. All right. So it sounds really cool. And
So when I first got on LinkedIn, I spent quite a bit of time on audio events because there was a lot of people that were in my orbit that were doing them. And
Yeah.
honestly, I fell in love with them because I was an audio event, I got on stage when I was just getting started. It actually helped me get into a couple of podcasts and webinars and events because I was getting on there. I was talking, I was sharing my point of view. So it's one of those things where like I do think they create a lot of opportunity for someone that's a guest as well.
Nice. Okay. All right. Right on. Well, that's definitely on the list. Got to control all those content types. All right. So speaking of content, Brian, you got the
Hey,
floor.
all right. So this week, positive. I was looking over my, and this was just random. I was looking over my goals for the year, and I actually made a milestone a month earlier, 30 days earlier, right? So this year I set a goal with Declan DeVay, and for 10,000 followers by the end of the year. That was the deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a milestone set for 6 months out. I actually did it in 5, right?
Nice.
So 5,000,
Mm-hmm.
5 months, 0 to 5 in 5 months. And at that milestone, I said if I hit the milestone, right? Because the reason this all came about was when I first started, we did a boot camp, right? When I first got back on LinkedIn for the second time, right? And this is a long story, so I'll make it real short.
Okay.
When I got back on LinkedIn for the second time, I met with a guy, and me and this guy we decided to start doing events. And this really relates to what you're talking about with the audio events, right? We decided to start doing events, and we did a boot camp a few months back. And we were just testing some things out on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is incorporating all of these new features like crazy. Right. Man. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Right. So we decided to do this event, and after doing the event, we realized that the best way to do the event is to use these audio events, right? Because you want people to come up and ask questions. It's a boot camp, right? You're supposed to be learning things, right? And in the audio events, and I think this speaks to what you're talking about. I believe they don't. I believe the powers that be are not offering recordings because of the premise of live, right? Like you got to be there. You know what I mean? Like if you miss the event, you just miss the event. But what they are offering is like they do with movies. Like, and anybody can do this, right? After you go to a movie event, have you ever heard of the after mirror? Right. So there's always a after show where you get to talk with the characters.
Oh, okay.
Right? And you get to ask them insights about their character, and they do it for television shows all the time, like The Walking Dead and Talking Dead. Right? You ever heard of that?
No. But hey, I'm learning. I'm learning every minute.
Yeah. So you can always do that after the live show, right? In case you missed the live, right? And vice versa, right? You could use the live for a recap of this event.
Okay. That sounds great. All right. So here we are. We're building all the time. So
hey. So listen, this is the one thing before we go, I gotta let you know. We're doing our second boot camp. Was with the audio, right? So the first time we got maybe 220 people to show up, right?
Nice.
Right? Asking to be there. And actually I'm with Aaron, only a small amount, 30, 40 showed up. But I believe the audio events will have it'll reach even higher levels because people will be able to step up on stage, raise their hand.
Yeah,
hey,
perfect.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna go a totally different direction, right? So we talked about these live audios, and I love it. I'm gonna take like 1 minute, and basically I'm practicing storytelling, and I'm trying to experiment with that as a type of content. So I did one earlier this week, and it was about my minivan. And as a dad, right? I got all these kids and dogs and stuff. I'm a proud minivan driver. And I tried to write a story about that earlier this week. And that's what it was, right? It's, so for anybody who saw that, or anybody who was interested in that kind of content, it's out there, and it's just like, why do I, it's not, minivans are not cool, right? The anti, but they're cool to me because I can get furniture in them. I can get full sheets of plywood in them. I can go camping with it. I can put a double mattress in it. It goes really fast and it's pretty safe. I mean, so it's like, why wouldn't you want a minivan? So
Does it really go that fast?
they can go really, the new ones, yeah, they go perfectly fast enough. And they're okay. Story. So I'm at the, I have to go and run some paperwork from one of my kids at one of the high schools, right? So I'm leaving the high school, and there's this kid, and he's like, I don't know, 17 or something, and he's got his Mustang, and I'm in my minivan. Well, I can see that he doesn't like me. He's like chagrined that he has to be behind me. So then we pull out into the main street, and we're out there. It's a 2-lane highway, and I can see him. He's trying to scooch around and trying to So I just punched it and took off. Just and Mr. Mustang, he just couldn't keep up with the old minivan. So anyway, there you go. There's me just
Scooching.
just having fun with the minivan action. So
Scooching.
With that, it is time to move to round 2 of the Hotness Unleashers show. So, Mr. Kennen, you are up. Who is your second Hotness Unleasher of the day?
Okay, I just had to unmute. So my second Hotness Unleasher would be Michael Sweatman. He's been a long time partner for me, for my marketing agency. He's a videographer, animator, and a graphic designer. He's worked with plenty of people from Simon Property Group. For example, they own a lot of malls, and he's done commercials for them. He's done TV commercial spots for some companies, and he's even worked with the Boston Celtics and Jaylen Brown in creating content for them. And we even during the pandemic, when small business was dipping down, everyone was going out of business. We did a lot of work for local music artists and helped them do music videos. Back then when we were doing music, we were partnering with this studio called Phoenix Down Studios, and I even encountered artists like Snoop Dogg and Lil Baby.
Nice. Now the screen grab that I got for Michael says he's open to work. Do you know what kind of work he's looking for right now, or is it just sort of a general openness to new opportunities?
Just a general openness to new opportunities. He's constantly learning, looking to get new opportunities. Like I said, he helps me a lot when it comes to freelancing and our marketing agency. Like I mentioned, we do white labeling. For example, if a social media manager wants to outsource all their video editing, we have Michael on board who can do that for them. Okay. And of course, independently, he's taking on his own work as a videographer. He does animation too. Nice. He even helped this TikTok channel who does children's education grow from 0 to 7K followers in a week. And he animated and he animated all the cartoons for them.
Nice. Wow, he sounds like a great guy. Sounds like he's really got a ton of skills, and is somebody who can really contribute in a big way to this community. All right, thank you for highlighting him. I did reach out to him to connect earlier this morning, and hopefully he'll accept, and I'll get to know him even better. It's great, awesome, love it. All right, Aaron Barreiro, let's do it. Well, who you got?
All right, so I got a friend of mine that I just met probably a month ago. His name is Cebien. And he's been on LinkedIn for a long time, and he actually was on the audio event and came up on the stage and was just dropping dimes the entire time. He's a huge proponent of LinkedIn, just like all of us are, and so it was awesome to have him there. That was the first time I was able to speak with him in that kind of capacity and just kind of hear him talk, hear how he thinks. And I just love this guy. I love the way he talks about his children. I love the way that he goes about trying to give as much value as possible. And he's been doing a lot of video lately. So he goes into it, puts 5-minute, 6-minute videos talking about helping people get into the workplace, talking about resumes, talking about all the nitty gritty details. That if someone is really in a spot where they are trying to make a difference in their career approach, how they're trying to get into their next opportunity, I definitely think check out his profile, check out his videos, take notes, because he is giving a ton of value, and it's going to be really helpful for anyone that is doing that. And he has his own business. It's called Cebien Enterprises Worldwide, which is what he does all the time, consulting around that idea. So awesome guy. Glad that I got to connect with him, and I'm hoping to speak to him a lot more in the future.
Love it. Love it. I did reach out to him as well. I mean, that's the beauty of this, well, as I see it, right? I get to meet all these really great new people, right? I mean, I didn't know Cebien before this. And I love, and I'm looking at this, and I did reach out to him earlier today, and I'm looking, okay, Cebien. So I'm thinking, okay, there you go. That's clever. That I love that kind of wordplay, and taking your own name and making a business name out of it, and just leveraging that. So yeah, I totally appreciate bringing him up and bringing him into this community like you have, and I can't wait to get to know him. And two, I love that that I've only got 34 mutual connections with him, right? So this is my experience, right? What you're seeing here on the screen now. Some of the folks out here, like Victoria, the Social Saturday, queen. She's I got like 1,500 or something in common. Okay. And so Cebien's new to me, right? And 34 is not a huge amount of overlap. So this is where it gets really exciting and interesting. So I'm excited to get to know him. Hopefully he'll take my connection request and we'll build from there. All right, appreciate it. All right, thanks, Aaron. That's awesome. All right, Brian, you are up. Who is your second Unleasher of the day?
Hey, if I can't get my daughter to stop moving around.
All right.
Okay. So, Lebo Mashego.
All right, we got him right here. There we go.
Lebo Mashego. The guy is he's one of the best copywriters that I've come in contact with. All of the things that we're talking about now, all of this was going on long before the internet, right? And this guy is one of those old soul characters, right? He brings a different flavor to what he says and what he writes. He's got so much passion behind it. And this is actually the guy that I spoke with when I got back on LinkedIn for the second time to start building these initiatives to bring creators together and to bring solutions to the creators. This is the guy, Lebo Mashego.
Love it. I love the look on his face too for his profile page. It's like, you know what? I got it, man. I know what's going on. I'm good. I'm informed. I love this his profile banner. It's all good. And the fact too that he's in South Africa, it
Johannesburg.
It brings in this idea that look, this is a global reality that we're in, right? I mean, this is a new game. I mean, really, the ability to meaningfully interact with folks who are not in the U.S.
Yeah, man. You're absolutely
we're not
right.
close to the U.S., right? We'll for Aaron's sake here. So, you're right on the other side of the border. But this relationship with Lebo goes back, like you said, a long ways. So
man, we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And the reason I say it's a long time, because again, I'm more of an introvert, right? So it takes me a while to get to know people. Like I've been watching you for some time now.
Yeah.
And we didn't connect until recently. Right.
Well, I had to hound you to get you on this show.
This is true.
I was chasing you down.
This is true. And I watched the show one day, man, and I was floored. I said, this is the environment that I only accept into my life, right? This type of energy. I love it, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you're here, and thanks for bringing Lebo into our world. And can't wait to get to know him better. And we're just gonna build on that. So, speaking of getting to know people better, my Hotness Unleasher is my second one is Sarah Blankenship. So, if you guys don't know Sarah Blankenship, she is the voice of Gen X Nation, and she takes it seriously. All right, and she Man, I'm a Gen X guy, right? I mean, I grew up with my favorite joke of Gen X is that we don't have microwaves. Okay, so if you wanted to have a Stouffer's pot pie, right, you had to cook that sucker in the oven for like 6 hours. It's the stupidest thing, and I think if you can kind of relate to that a little bit. And so Sarah talks about that, right? And like this bike I've got back here is from when I was in 7th grade, and 1984, and and now this is a replica, and it hangs on my wall as art. But because I'm into this sort of this identity, and she gets it, and we can relate on so many levels, and we shoot each other DMs and stuff about, hey, this and that. Well, she posted about having been on food stamps. This was earlier this week. And yeah, I've been on food stamps, right? And if anybody has an issue with that, we can go outside and fight. I mean, because I think that food stamps are well, for me personally, they saved us, okay? And they're huge. They're an entitlement. If you qualify for them, you should get them. I don't think there's shame in that. And I appreciated that Sarah brought that to the table and owned it. And, I try to jump in with that and say, like, thank you, for including folks who, may not be sure about whether that's okay. Right. And, everybody goes through hard times, and so have I. And guess what? Sarah, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being the voice of Gen X Nation. Love seeing your content every single time. I laugh a little bit. I cry a little bit, think about it. So, with that, I just want to shine the light on her and say, hey, episode 8, you're a Hotness Unleasher forevermore. And with that, we're going to move to just talk a little bit about, like, what are we excited about next week, and where are we? What are you guys cooking? What's coming? So, Mr. Kennen, why don't you lead us off?
Oh, just muted again. As for next week, like I mentioned, what we were planning to do with James, like I said, Trevor inspired us to go into live streaming because he showed us the big potential in it. So we're gonna scrub through logistics, and if we're prepared for it, we're looking to do our first live streaming show for Love Therapy Thursday this Thursday.
Nice. Your first live stream. So what's how are you going to do that? What's the flow going to be? Do you know?
Yep. So it's just going to be a 30-minute segment, after hours. We haven't come up with a name for it yet, but we thought it'd be great for when people came out of work, they could engage more with our community, and then he could because remember we talked about the group therapy program, instead of just doing an impromptu thing, me just commenting in the Zoom just for the pilot program. We're after the live stream, he's gonna direct everyone towards a Google form where they can give their availability, so we can have a more scheduled thing for our group therapy sessions, especially since we're gonna look to get more therapists and life coaches to run and moderate the meetings.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, that sounds really exciting. Can't wait to follow up and keep my eye on that initiative. That well done. Yeah, can't wait. And I'm happy that this format served as an inspiration for that. That's fantastic. All right, so Mr. Barreiro, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, first, I think it's awesome what you're doing, Aaron K, with group therapy, and just James. James brings an energy unlike anybody else. So I think it's awesome that y'all are getting that started. Trevor, thank you so much for this space. I mean, it's popping. The people here obviously love what you're doing, so I think it's awesome, and I appreciate your vulnerability and just sharing that. And so for me this week, I am excited about, I've been doing every day of the week videos. So I'm on that again. I'm going to be talking about hooks all week this week for your content. So be on the lookout for that. And today, probably in a couple hours, I'm going to be putting on my the announcement for the next live audio event. So if anyone wants to check out my content, there will be a post in probably 2 hours inviting you all to attend. But yeah, if you know anyone that does not write on LinkedIn, if anyone here in the chat is not writing on LinkedIn, this is your chance to figure out how you can get started.
Terrific. Can't wait to see it. And those puppies too. You got some puppies you got to take care of. Yeah. And maybe some pictures of puppies, because LinkedIn's all about the puppies, man.
I love puppies and dogs.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't. So build in some pictures of puppies, would you please, this week? Just do that, just as a personal favor to me. Can't get enough of them. I mean, I like to do dogs in sunglasses when I can't think of anything else to say. So it's kind of my running joke. But in any case, I appreciate it. I want to see those dogs. That'll be great. All right. So have a great week, man. All right. So Brian, what are you looking forward to? Brian's on mute. There he is.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the week, man. Every day above ground is a great day, right?
That's I'm still standing, right? I'm still
standing, still here. I'm working on the content creation bootcamp part 2 with Lebo and Dan to have that out before the end of the month, and kind of bolster the support for the essential content creation community, right? Where we support creators that are just starting out with learning to create content, learning to create content strategy, and just kind of getting a feel for where they fit in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that all week.
Correct. Can't wait to see it, man. It's going to be great. Can't wait. All right. So for me, my wife had shoulder surgery a couple days ago, and that means that I got to rise to a new level, right? Because she's a one-arm bandit, and yeah. So I mean, things are not the way they usually are. I got to get a kid back from California. So she's coming back.
Right.
I got another one's going to homecoming dance and stuff. I mean, so it's like, all right, and that, and then trying to keep up, right? Trying to keep up with we're gonna have a Hotness Unleashers show number 9, and you know what I'm thinking about? I'm gonna drop this a little bit. I'm thinking about a Thanksgiving special. So I think I might have to host that on Zoom, because I don't know. I don't think I can have enough people, but I'm kind of thinking like anybody who's been on the show or has been announced as Hotness Unleasher, just like boom, just like mass Zoom party on Thanksgiving Saturday. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, and maybe I'll see if we get any bites on that. Anybody's going to be around, pretty cash, just to hang out a little bit, and yeah, have some fun with that. So again, it's just content all the time, and keeping up with it. So with that, everybody, it is 9 o'clock or 8:59, and we are signing off. So everybody who joined us in the comments, thank you so much. Have a great week, and keep in touch.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, man. You guys have a great day.